Hi, I'm Allison Haunss, and welcome to the Working Woman Report. Today we're talking small business with three women who each bring something very different to the table. Ceylan Rowe is the founder of Trendy Napkin, a fashion brand that donates $1 from every single product sold to help refugee women start their own businesses and become self-sufficient. Rita Ng is the founder of Bonbon, whose handcrafted French macaroons are not only to die for, they also helped Rita create a new niche market. And Tiffanie Stanard runs two companies that anyone running a business with a social mission should know about. If you're running your own small business or thinking about taking that leap, today you are not going to want to miss this show. I began by asking each of them to explain, in the most simple terms, their business.
Yeah, so my company, I have two companies actually, Prestige Concepts, which is a brand enhancement firm. I started that company about 8 years ago, and we specialize in forming branding and marketing strategies for organizations that have like a nonprofit and for-profit mission. So they're trying to fuse the messaging between speaking to their customers on what they're selling as far as the product, but then they also have a social impact mission that they want to put together.
Okay, now if you started that 8 years ago, and first of all, what is the name of the company?
Prestige Concepts.
Okay, I would imagine that trying to get your message across has changed radically over 8 years.
Yes.
So what is the best way to, what are you doing for your clients right now in terms of branding and messaging?
Yeah, so we're creating a lot of campaigns that really focus on, everybody's looking at like the social impact. How do you help communities? How do you help nonprofits? How do you help small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses? So we're creating a lot of campaigns and programs, especially with brand ambassadors, of fusing those messaging together. Because of course if you're a for-profit company, you want to sell your product or your service and make money, but then you also want to create impact within your city or your neighborhood, or if you're national, within different cities. So we're creating those campaigns that have fused those two messaging together.
And you have a second company.
I do. I had a second company.
Okay, you're juggling a lot here.
We're working a lot. I started this company based upon my relationships with Prestige Concepts, dealing a lot with corporations and small businesses that disconnect when someone's trying to get sponsorship or a grant or trying to become a woman-owned business vendor within those corporations. So I launched Stimulus, which is a technology company creating a search engine and a marketplace to help people find resources such as grants and sponsorship, or to connect to a corporation or government agency to become a woman-owned business within their agency.
So for example, you log on, I
Yes.
like to keep things simple.
Yes.
You log on and what are you going to get?
So what we've been called the Google for grants and sponsorship. So you log on the way you would do like a Google search, and you put in your information about your company, and then a list of different grants and sponsorships will come up that's pertaining to your industry. And then you're able to connect to those companies based upon what we have in our database. And it will be the same thing also for minority-owned and women-owned businesses. If there's a contract that's available to you and you match with the requirements that the corporation is looking for, then you will be matched to those companies.
How did you begin Bonbon?
So about 2 years ago, December 2014, I started Boston Bonbon. It was mainly focusing on just making French macarons in unique flavors, like Vietnamese iced coffee, or grey tea, like mango lassi, all these like different like ethnic group or like culture infused into the macarons.
They're so beautiful, the macaroons. Where did the idea for macaroons come from?
It came from like long time ago. I was on a backpacking trip in Europe, and I was just like trying all these desserts, and everything is just so wonderful. And of course, the macaron just really catch my eye, so pretty. And I thought it would be nice to bring it back to Boston, because it's actually like Boston, we have that much of that kind of desserts. And I think it's smaller, so it's easier to manage.
Wonderful. And Ceylan, your company is also just, it's phenomenal.
So on International Women's Day, I launched Trendy Napkin. In Trendy Napkin, we sell non-sweatshop shirts with an inspiring message and donate $1 from every product we sell to help refugee women overseas become self-sufficient.
How did it begin?
So prior to this, I had a consulting business where I was helping moms start their own business and market their own business, and it was my hidden secret that I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I finally decided to take my own advice, and I launched.
So where did Trendy Napkin come from?
So do you have children?
I don't.
You don't?
But
okay.
I have lots of nieces and nephews.
Lots of nieces and nephews. If you ever see children eat, they will never use a napkin, they use their shirt. So my children inspired the name because they always use their shirt. So I called it Trendy Napkin.
Love it. And you're wearing one of your Girls with Dreams Become Women with Vision. I love it. Love it.
So true. I love it.
So you sell T-shirts, and what are the other items?
We have bags and notebooks, but we also have a Global BFF collection where we actually have products made from women in rural areas of the world as well. I also recently became the Metro West Commissioner for the Commission on the Status of Women, so I really dedicate my life to empowering women locally and globally.
That's one thing our three working women have in common, their passion for social change. Interestingly, though, Ceylan's gone one step further and made giving back an integral part of her business model. I asked her why it was so important for her to include refugee women in her mission.
I love giving back, and I have family in Turkey, and so the Syrian refugee crisis right now really kind of hit home, so I wanted to do something about it.
How is the money distributed from Trendy Napkin? And we'll get to the name in a second. How is the money distributed to the refugees? I mean, what is the flow?
That's a great question. So we actually work with two very reputable nonprofits called Karam Foundation and Small Projects Istanbul, and they're in Turkey and in Syria right now. And you could go on our website and get more information. But they have a sustainable development program where the women are making soaps, and they're selling the soaps, and then also the women in Istanbul are making jewelry through our funding and other business funding to help become self-sufficient.
And have you met any of the folks on the other side that you're helping at this point?
That's a great question. So this summer I was actually supposed to go to Turkey, but with the military coup we ended up not going. And so this next summer I'm hoping to go and meet with the refugees one-on-one. But in Massachusetts I actually worked for the Office of Refugees and Immigrants right after college. So I am familiar with the refugee community here. But I really want to go to Turkey and be one-on-one with them and see them.
And because you have this social entrepreneurship component, are you an LLC? Can you list as something? I know there's talk of, is it B Corp or B Corp? What are you listed as? And maybe we can talk a little bit about what the options are.
So I did an LLC, but I've been getting feedback from other people that I should be changing it. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be looking into.
So what's a B Corp?
Yeah, so B Corp is a for-profit company with a social mission. So it allows you to have that type of social mission when you're giving back to your community, or a percentage of your money goes to either a nonprofit or another partner, and it allows you kind of to do a little bit of both of the for-profit and nonprofit model, but you are registered as a for-profit company. It just allows you to really do more of a social mission than most for-profits are known for.
So if your business does have a social mission, there are a number of different options to get started. But how do you get started? And what are the biggest hurdles you'll need to overcome? We'll find out what these three have to say after the break. Welcome back to the Working Woman Report. I'm Allison Haunss. Today we're talking all things small business with Trendy Napkin founder Ceylan Rowe, Boston Bonbons Rita Ng, and serial entrepreneur turned consultant Tiffanie Stanard. Anyone who's ever had a big idea for a new business will know that it can be hard to know where to start. You can be overwhelmed with different options. We panic and do nothing, meaning our big ideas never even leave the page. Well, our three entrepreneurs have been there, done that. And in Ceylan's case, definitely she got the t-shirt. To learn some lessons from their own highs and lows, I asked each of our businesses to tell us all where it began.
Well, the way I did, especially when I was starting my second company, was I started to do these kind of unsolicited focus groups. Meaning you go to these networking events, these conferences, and you're speaking to so many different people, and you kind of just bring up your idea. Not saying, hey, I have an idea. You just bring it up and just say, how's things going in your business? Did you find funding for your business? And then if you speak to 30 people that month and all of them had the same pain point, and you do that for maybe 2-3 months, then you can see that there's an actual need for your product. You're kind of telling them your idea, but you're not telling them just in case you decide not to actually, go ahead with that idea, but allows you to do these type of focus groups to see if this is an actual idea that you should start, and allows you to kind of already get some of your testers in order and getting their contact information, because you like, you know what, I'm actually creating something for the issues we've been speaking about for the last couple of months.
How did you start off? Did you have a brick and mortar, or was it online, and where did you?
Yeah, so actually to start off, I rented a small shared kitchen space in Jamaica Plain. It's not small anymore because I think they built a brand new one in Dorchester. So a lot of small businesses like us will just rent the kitchen for a few hours and get the license, so then we can actually sell to, public and stuff like that.
Now, ladies, I would like to touch upon actual product, physical product, because that's a whole, we're talking distribution and shipping and that whole scenario. So Rita, tell me, how's your experience been with that?
So basically, I started off at a farmer's market.
Okay.
So I think it's like the most interactive because you see the reaction right away. You see what people say about your product, and you see the faces of the children after they ate your product. So it's actually very direct feedback. And it's actually easier to start that way than going into stores and other stuff. So.
Okay, so then you take it to the farmer's market, and then after the farmer's market and you had some success with the farmer's market, where did you move next? What was your next move?
I started selling online as well.
Okay.
And also I started going into stores and cafes, and I'm now also in 11 stores and cafes, and also a few other hotels like the Renaissance and also the Boxer Hotel in Boston.
Okay, so with the hotels and the stores, did you physically go into these stores and hotels and say, hey, I've got these great macaroons, I want to sell them? Is that?
It's actually a combination. Like a couple of the hotels actually reach out to me. I think the name Boston Bonbon really make it easier on the Google search. So people actually was able to find me online, and we are on the top 3 in the list when you type Boston and macarons. Yeah.
Okay, and then online, what was that like shipping a food product?
Actually, the macarons are okay to stay in room temperature for a day or two. Nothing will happen to it, but to make it the quality stay intact, we have ice packs, we have bubble wrap, we have the thermal bubble wrap as well. So.
And who does that, and where do you do that?
Doing it at the kitchen after we make the product, and mainly it's me right now, but I hired two other part-time help periodically depending on the volume. Yeah.
Okay, and Ceylan, it's really the t-shirts that you're focusing on, or the other products? Tell me what your cycle is like.
So when I started Trendy Napkin, I needed to find a manufacturer, and I really wanted a non-sweatshop manufacturer. I wasn't going to compromise on that. And so I kind of did my research, and I found a manufacturer. I came up with all the logos I created on the t-shirts, and I had them printed, and so we stock everything, and when we get orders, we just pack them up. And
how do you decide how much to order in terms of stock? How do you stock, and then when do you order? And
so that's a great question, and I think when with any new business, you got to just put yourself out there and test the waters and see how it goes. So I purchased a whole bunch of shirts, and I'm actually at these conferences, when I have a booth, I get to see which quotes are the most popular. And a lot of people want shirts for their children. So now in 2017, we're going to be launching a children's collection as well. So it's really, you got to just take the first steps, put yourself out there, get some feedback, and then you got to shift your business. I mean, all businesses need to shift and adjust to the client's needs.
3 very different stories, but one key message we can take from all of them. Start small so you can get your business off the ground and then grow it from the ground up. There's one question every single entrepreneur asks themselves: should I go it alone? As Tiffanie explains, while it can be tempting to try and handle everything yourself from the get-go, finding the right business partner really can make all of the difference.
one thing I've learned from now being in my second business is really having someone on your team that can actually do everything that you're not great at, right? And you learn that from your first business that, okay, you're not good with finances or you're not good with operations or things of that nature. So now when you're going into whether it's your first business or your second business, you kind of lay out what are you good at and what you're not good at. And then you find someone, whether it's a team member or a partner, that do everything that you're not good at, basically.
So example, can you explain from your first business to your second business, what did you learn and how did you decide I'm going to focus on this and I'm not going to focus on this?
So I am terrible at financing. Terrible. I had to get an accountant to help with personal and professional accounting. And then the operational side of the business, I'm the creative, I'm the idea person, I'm a partnership strategist, I'm great with partnerships. So I already knew what my strengths were and my weaknesses. So by the time I got to my second business, I found a partner that was perfect at everything that I hated to do within a business, right? So you need to know, even if it's not necessarily your weakness, if you don't like to do it, you're not going to do it. And everything you need to do within your business is important. So even if you just learn it just enough to hire or bring on a partner for it, know what your weaknesses are. And I figured that out over 8 years, that I'm terrible with financing. I'm okay with operation, but I don't love the operational side. And now I have a founder and a partner that handles all operations and all finance.
When you're talking about partnerships, how do you decide how much equity and what you're going to control? Where does that come from? What do you do? I know it's different in every case.
Yeah, it's definitely different in every case. When it came to my company now, Stimulus, I looked at it like, what does he bring to the table? Does he bring half of everything that I don't do? Or does he bring or she brings 20% or 10% of what I don't do? So it depends on what they're bringing to the table. And he literally brings half of what I don't do or what I don't like to do. So kind of hard depending on what your company is and what you're bringing on. Like if you're bringing on the staff and they're working for equity, then you kind of break it down based upon hours. But if you're looking for an actual partner and they're bringing in things that you don't do, then you can look at more of a 30 to 50% type of idea. And then where are you taking that idea? My idea was just small, and by the time we set a year later, it was just big. So that warrants 50% of the company.
50% may sound like a lot of your business to be giving away, but I guess Tiffany's point is this: choose the right partner, and that could be 50% of a business that's 10 times as profitable as the one you'd be running on your own. Coming up after the break, we talk funding and marketing, and we find out how Rita managed to get maximum exposure for her brand without having to pay a penny. Welcome back to the Working Woman Report. I'm Allison Haunss. Taking part in today's Small Business Roundtable, we have Tiffanie Stanard, Rita Ng, and Ceylan Rowe. 3 women behind 3 very different kinds of businesses. The one thing they do have in common, their incredible success. But on the road to that success, our 3 women must have faced a hurdle or 2. I asked them what the hardest part was, despite their different businesses.
Just marketing. So just trying to get the word out there. It's interesting because I've reached out to different bloggers and different groups, but people seem to like the big companies, like the Toms that have a great mission. But it's really the small businesses too that need those support. So just trying to market myself.
Do you have any advice regarding marketing? Because you do have that tech background.
Yeah, the one thing I've learned, especially with social media, and the great thing about social media for small companies, that you can really just build an amazing following and get customers that way, and people are not taking advantage of that. And I think people get kind of nervous of what to put on social media. And one thing I've learned is just really just documenting your process from start to where you're, where you started at and where you are now. And people love to see the backstory, because some people always just put the finishing product, like, oh, I'm here, I'm at the conference. But did you say, how did you get to the conference? Did you network? Did you put this out there? Hey, I submitted my application today and I got awarded. So people love to see that process, because like the question that you're asking, they're asking those questions in their head as well. So they want to see from step 1 to step 5, how did you get there? And that's a part of the marketing, because not only you're marketing yourself, but you're marketing your product and your service.
And you're saying that people were finding you online, so were you using Google AdWords, or what was?
Actually, I didn't pay a dime
Didn't
advertising
pay a dime.
anything. Because
You have that great name.
And also, I did a lot of social media, like on Instagram, because my product is actually a lot about like pictures, how it looks.
They're so beautiful.
So like the Instagram really helps, and Facebook. We do a lot of pop-up events throughout the city. So also that's also the social media really kicks in and helps. So I think like free social media really helps.
I love going to events and networking. I found that that's very helpful. So I will always Google what events are coming up. And meetup.com is also a great resource. And there's just always, even if you just Google women's events, there's always tons of stuff happening in Boston area. And you could just reach out. And I found that sponsoring events has been very helpful in having a booth.
Another huge hurdle any new business owner faces is funding. Rather conveniently, that's Tiffany's area of expertise. And as we all found out, there's even more help available than you might think.
So there, on the grant side, there's government grants, there's corporation grants that are available for small businesses, for-profit and nonprofit. So if you're looking for, there's a lot of idea grants that when you're starting, like right from the beginning, where they're giving out grants to kind of go from idea to execution, especially on the government side, like SBIR, which focuses on small businesses and from idea to different phases. So you may get a grant that starts at phase 1 and then be eligible for grants that gets you to phase 2, 3, and 4, which is execution of an actual product. So it varies per city as well. And then on the sponsorship side, a lot of companies are funded off of sponsorship events. So if you do events where you're reaching a certain community that organization is looking to reach, and you can partner with them and get funding that actually helps with different programs throughout the year. So each corporation and government agency really offers something different per city. And that's one thing we've been really expressing per event that we go to, that if you search and kind of put your information in and really match to the mission, and each quarter is different as well, because every organization say, okay, this quarter we're focusing on this, and this year we're focusing on that. So really, we're focused on matching per the organization that are looking and are offering these resources.
Do you have to be a grant writer to apply for these?
No, you can just be a regular company that is just looking for opportunities. We do offer different services on the website. Like if you don't want to go through, say you found 30 grants that are available to you, we do have partnership with grant writers and different people that can help walk you through that process. But just knowing that you're eligible is the first step, because most people don't know what they're eligible for.
What is the biggest misconception in terms of eligibility?
I probably would say that it's only for nonprofits. There's grants and then there's grants funding. So grants for the most part are nonprofit focused, but then there's grant funding that is done through government agencies that focus on small businesses, like I said, from idea to execution. So it's kind of just going through that whole process and seeing what's available per that organization.
Finally, to round off our roundtable today, we stopped talking about all of the hurdles and the problems our three women had overcome. Instead, I asked, what's the one part of launching their own business that they most loved?
I think the most exciting part is actually making it into a brick and mortar store. So now I own a brick and mortar store with two other women like me. So the store is actually called the Local Fair. So where the three of us make products in the store, we sell our products, and we also carry everything local made in Massachusetts. So it's actually a little storefront, but a lot of it is for the kitchen. Yeah. So that one is an LLC that we started.
Was that a little scary doing the brick and mortar?
It is a little scary at first because I quit my day job like this year when I started the store, but it has been like really rewarding, and I think it's definitely worth it because before it was harder to coordinate because I actually have a day job. I live in Quincy myself, and I have to drive to Needham every day. That's almost an hour, like if you ever try to drive like from Quincy to Needham like during the rush hour, and then my shared kitchen is in Jamaica Plain. So it's like a whole triangle every day. And then I fell asleep driving like multiple times. And I was like, this is the time that I think I have to choose either this or, the entrepreneurship.
What is the best thing that has happened to you in business? When you were like, I crushed it.
That's a crazy question. I've never been asked that. I know. I've never been asked that for the best thing. There's been a lot of great things. I think I can go down the list as far as just when you run into people and they've been following you and say, hey, I follow you on social media. That's always great because you just think you're just posting. You don't know who's following you until they meet you.
Or you don't want to know.
Or you don't want to know, exactly. Or the second thing I think for stimulus, we've landed so many partnerships just within a year. We just partnered with AT&T, University of Pennsylvania, and Microsoft, a company that I've been working with through my marketing firm. And we just became company in residence at their Microsoft location in Philadelphia, which really helps propel our message, partnering with larger companies to help smaller companies. So that's probably like the biggest things of like years of building up these relationships, and they're finally coming to the front line and they're helping not only me, but my clients as well.
Plenty of food for thought, and hopefully the source of a little much needed inspiration too. That's all for this edition of the Working Woman Report. Be sure to connect with us in the social media world via Twitter and Facebook, and visit our website, workingwomanreport.com. Tune in next time for more amazing stories on our fantastic women. Who knows? Maybe you're next. See you then.